which is a Section 8 company. We'll cover a little more about the IDEX, right? Because this IDEX has played a major role. MSMEs and new entrepreneurs. In rapid inductions about the in-space, as I have said, both these agencies have played major role in the growth of the startups, in maturing development in defense and aerospace by engaging innovators, entrepreneurs, academia, R&D institutes to develop technologically advanced solutions. Will be able to harness that considerable opportunity which is available in the sector, and also the capability which is there with the defense startups to take up. These challenges include the problem statement, drones, autonomous vessels, etc. Now 13,000 applications have 4 types of challenges with differing grant amounts based on the complexity are raised, and these include the challenges had a grant of rupees 10 crores. This included something like smart ships and things like that. And government further up the ante announced 3 Aditi challenges, right? And as I mentioned to you, each challenges entail grant of up to 25. To take the challenges, please raise the hand. And in fact, publicly, Honorable Minister and so are the other ministers in the government have said, if you are ready with a product, you have a. As far as government is concerned, government is doing. The Indian Navy, and as far as the Indian Navy is concerned, among right. So now let's get into the pointed questions, right? And basic question to him is, which you initially touched upon.
More of an opportunity than a challenge. Many of them with their disruptive, the road to success aspiring who have innovation, converting innovation. It requires building organizations, it requires building capabilities, building reliability into the product, and especially in a sector like it doesn't suffice to have an idea which works in the lab. You have to take it.
Very rightly said, converting innovation. Right? These are 2 different things, and they need to be worked upon by the startups. Very, very. From your side, right? This I am not so well aware of in space. You said you are a regulator. Does Department of Space officially recognize you as a regulator? I saw somewhere it's an autonomous body. I saw somewhere the crest of, proposal goes from you today. Is it binding on the Space Department, Ministry of Space?
So we are attached to the Department of Space pending. So it is in the last stage which will be put in the Parliament at any time. But since now we have to regulate the activity autonomous body, so we are formed with a and Gazette notification is already there for that, and we have submitted the space activities bill to of space because the department is to the point of title of this talk where space global giant.
Please.
Yeah, very interesting. Core pillars to become a global giant. What are the strengths? The IT solution, be it sending become a global giant, and we are sure that in that direction countries. Second tier, we have been working, our company, our private startups, we were operationalized. Big jump. We are the world leader in companies plus providing various kind of solutions. The third approach is the advanced in-house technology. Additionally, you need the demand for that. For sustainability, you need the demand. 50,000 crore worth of for the private companies to work in the space sector. This include a small part of private companies. So we have a lot of money demand from the government. Additionally, as a part for the Indian space sector, we want to take it from our economy, our share in global economy should be around $44 billion. And individuals for the demand generation. There is a very important 50,000 crore. But I need to tell what all we are doing is the transfer. We have established a 100 crore lab where you can carry out the activities. Up to the seed fund scheme, we have 1 crore. Of 500 crore, where up to 25 crore one company will give, and venture capitalist fund is also. So fund of fund for deep tech is already announced by 1 lakh crore by the government in this budget. You see, expert consultants, 1 minute I will take because most of the time went in the introduction. Courses in space domain which are very important to develop the skill. They are short-term capsule courses and major degree plus MTech. They are program for in addition.
May I request you?
Last point, sir. Last point, sir.
Yeah.
So in addition. On global collaboration strategy for projecting India. Warrior. Thank you, sir. Over to you.
Nice of you. Views on the VC side, what particularly the government, IDEX, or in space, so as to inspire more confidence in VCs.
Side of needing more capital from VC is how long does it take, and how can they build the robust, possibly the relatively more tuned and break things sort of model, which is okay possibly in this defense and space ecosystem. So I think time to build and capital in some of the capital, but facilities, you need access to know-how through agencies. Chips and sensors, that again is out because we may be reliant on some other countries that may be politically sensitive. Number one, we need to provide at design stage or at are being availed by multiple of our startups and the rest of the ecosystem, which is very, very promising. rupee that comes in from private capital, and for every rupee that comes in, if they can start with 2 million, that then you can go a long way. And with defense forces through the IDEX challenges or the other challenges, right? And that leverage where the type of idea, right? So there we need data, we need newer kinds of sensors. I think the opportunity the ecosystem, and number two, how to leverage every single dollar that is
Creating a sustained transfer of our startups to a global level, to a global scale. IITs, you know, and other good colleges like NITs are best.
Gentlemen, can you please give a big Shekhar ji, thank you so much for moderating everyone. Arjun ji, Dr. Vinod. Big hand everyone. मिलके अब बाकी सभी पैनलिस्ट को फेलिसिटेट करें. Big hand everyone. Towards the event, and thank you for joining us here.
But it's
Can you please come together for a group picture, please? Gaurav ji, can we please have you?
I request our panelists to stay on. Pleased to announce the signing and exchange of an MOU RDO to establish the framework to support the startups and MSMEs support. Along with the panelists, may I also invite Mr. Shri LC who's already on stage along with you. Please give a huge how can we leave out manufacturing, right? That's another area which is going through. Mr. Uttam Gowda, who's the freshness and efficiency. And Mr. Chetan Naik, a strategic mind from 361, who's inside.
Over to you, David.
Great, thank you very much.
infrastructure projects, technology adoption, and the ability to serve. And I think that will drive a lot of the topics of the conversation today. So Uttam, maybe we'll start off with you.
Digitization, targeting large enterprises, which is we are addressing the same digitization opportunity, but a lot more tech plus transaction model for you to be able to or we haven't developed a lot of foundational models. Now, what does this entail? This entails the fact that we need to also overlay the commercial aspect, especially in our case. India was a test bed, build a demand stack and see how this learning is something that we could easily take to the problem statement in the developed world is a subset of problems that like it or not, we operate in a low trust environment, particularly in the B2B side. You are envisaging so many scenarios to be able to build a robust platform. Risk which is a lot more palatable. The opportunity looks more exciting, where you have a fundamental technology stack, you have a test bed, you have an opportunity to digitize the mid-market, or for that matter even the lower end of the tech playing a role as a continuous 4-5 decades ago.
Yeah, and Rahul, I think Moglix had an impressive, level of growth over the last. Those learnings, in the companies that are here today.
Because I think we started in a pre-GST complicated. How do different B2B companies transact? Whether it was the adoption of suddenly the internet using mobile. We are just celebrating 10 years of starting Moglix. So we have seen the entire mobile data boom that happened in India, and the third was to build a company and to evolve the ecosystem. One of the challenges that we broken, your digital out from a financial transaction perspective is broken. All the three layers which make a commerce transaction successful simultaneously, right? And with all these regulatory kind of tailwinds which are continuing, we have been fortunate the direction of India, right? So building like what we went through was all about this belief that India grow. We have to have manufacturing which contributes anywhere between 20 to 8% of the GDP. Today it is still 17% of the GDP. India's role both from as India's role in global supply chain has to go up. And we continue to see that trend happening, whether we pick up a automotive sector, which is now ancillary supplying to the world. We see that happening across Indian pharmaceutical industry kind of became the backbone of chains because it was at a cost point, it was at scale. I remember where an interesting conversation with someone in Singapore, and we asked like people a day or something like that, right? And we per day, right? So for an advanced country like that, I mean, they were struggling model as soon as we get the start. Entrepreneurs out there, I think this is a long journey. Your horizon as founder, both in terms of persistence and continuing to solve the challenges, because there will be multiple rocks thrown and continue to build on.
And that's an consumer businesses. And Chetan, maybe with your investment side, you've also invested in companies like ZWorks on the B2B side. Two segments and how they evolve over time.
Great to be here. It's fantastic. The energy is awesome. So, David, we have backed more than a dozen companies in the consumer tech space. And specifically manufacturing tech, SediMac, NetWeb Technologies, Miko, and quite a few more. So I would say that the investment is very, very varied. And typically on the B2C, the product market fit. However, on IP-led business, the gestation period could be much, much longer. And manufacturing tech or on the B2B side, track-led businesses, and at the inception, typically you'll have fewer businesses. Quick commerce. Trying to build a very strong, relevant, very important. And what that means is that there is a large focus and the other spectrum on manufacturing tech, or it entails a lot of upfront investment in terms of building the IP. And typically you end up having SediMac, they had one large customer for almost 8 years, right? And today, but also on, let's say, something like gensets, Power 2. Control is what drives the core application for a lot of these businesses. So what happens? Antivirus are humongous on the B2B, and where they make this sensorless IoT across industries, not just in manufacturing or two-wheelers or three-wheelers. It could be in high concept. At a longer horizon, let's say over a 10 to 12 year period, we've seen that B2B businesses or manufacturing tech IP-led businesses can generate very, very strong retention with customers, and they can actually generate unique IP businesses are far, far better percent ROCE business, very highly profitable. And same is the case with some of the other companies like Network.
That's great. And obviously not all supply chains are the same. And how is to drive efficiencies in helping you scale across multiple markets?
Actually are very technology stuffed, especially in India, that's the case, and extremely, and to see how do we build some kind of an when we're talking about farmers, we're talking about intermediaries, and then we're talking about points that you are able to measure with respect to perishable goods. You are more looking at US and Europe. When we started exploring those work that's happened, especially on the innovation side in the things, the kind of technologies, the kind of innovation, kind of similar talent density that's involved in the Indian space. That's operating in the Indian context. Actually was something that's surprising that I realized. Operating systems that we had built for various stakeholders concept, developed world side. There are several supply chains today which are fundamentally offer a great test bed for a lot of statement that Indian supply chains offer, which clearly is a subset of
Manufacturing hub, over the next 10 years.
We are in a very different world today because the challenge is the tariff going to impact the first problem, which is easier problem for India to tackle, is that how much of our domestic indigenously should be served by indigenous manufacturing. Automotive, steel, these are some of the larger sectors. Pharmaceutical is a large sector, chemical. Is doubling their kind of capex, which is the building capacity, large cost, which but I think the global go through kind of learning quarter, and one of the challenges because of that for Indian, because many countries have gone about the global demand will come. So I think we are seeing obviously missions like India Semiconductor Mission, where
For a long time was seen as a low-cost manufacturing hub. What do you think about that from a capital perspective and a funding perspective?
The journey from here on is going to be about how do we move from net emerging out of India, which network is largely solving the entire supply globally. Another example would be something like, I would say, something like Miko market. And if you look at the core of Miko is a very strong AI. These are companies being built out of India for the world. Similarly, I would say that entire time from, and that is all done, which are actually building the guardrails for India in the high-end quality of companies that are coming from India and are going to solve for.
Great discussion today. I think one of my takeaways is that the complexity to then be able to take those out into more mature markets, it drive that to real scale globally. And so I think India will be a launch pad next decade to come.
Mr. Rahul Garg, Mr. Uttam Gowda, and Mr. Chetan. A token of appreciation to all the speakers present here with us.
One by one. Good.
All right, I think it's already done. Thank you so much. Please. We are ready for the next session.
We are almost ready.
Almost ready.
But yes, we started the day with a keynote address.
It would be really interesting, as I can already see the fireside chat there, building and scaling founder infra market. Good time, insightful time here. Give me a yes or no, everyone. Okay, a quick to the north, east, west, and south of us. So if I'm sitting, and if there is nobody sitting or standing, okay with that too. All right, can we do that? North, east, west, south, we have to shake hands. Here we go. Let's bring some energy in the room. On my count of 3, 2, 1. Here we go. Can we shake hand and say it's so nice to see you. You do tell your name. I'm just before our next session takes on. Thank you. Looking forward to it. Our speaker.
Once again, Naina Sood and other market is nothing short of inspirational, and he's here to share with us. Please come up on stage. Over to you, Naina.
All right, Naina, over to you.
Much Aditya for taking out time and it's a this chat with you and being a part of this amazing gathering here at Startup Mahakumbh. We'll try segment. So, we'll try to draw as many take space. So, Aditya, let's jump each stage of your journey, statement back then, what was the up and start building. Of course, you started with sand and then you sort of back to that 2016 stage when you started out.
Yeah, so strap business, right? If I look back then, right, come from industry background, right, and we have been in this industry if you see typically in B2B spaces, right, and many a times you would see there is an excess capacity. Seeing an opportunity, much in Mumbai, based out of Mumbai, very Mumbai-centric business, and we were doing fine. Like if you see all the right, you have a great opportunity, doing very well, as I said, during that time as well. Only in 2009 we actually make a model that is much more scalable. We got, we were, I would say, raised from banks, right? Any of the corporates today in India comes at to get a venture capitalist, be it Bangalore, be it Mumbai, we were knocking at begin.
If you are into B, good number. We'll jump to the advice in the end from Aditya.
About being an aggregator, right? And yes, from what, right? Essentially, you're always selling somebody else's product. I have the sales team, but I'm constantly selling somebody customers, right? We build up the entire thing, but what? At the end of it, you're building somebody else's. That, hey, if I have enough demand, right, let me do some more hard. Then we see this company growing beyond still categories on our platform which we do not manufacture ourselves. Intensive, right? So today, broadly, 60 to 70% of our sales come. They may just want to renovate the entire house.